Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. What if the happiness you've been waiting for finally comes, only to be shaken by doubt? Lytuna accepts Alex's love, a ring sealing their promise. But who is the strange woman beside him? Is it just a misunderstanding, or has betrayal entered their story? Stay with us until the end, because the answer may surprise you. Don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 1,000 followers for more emotional, dramatic stories. The orchard stretched endlessly, rows of grapefruit trees swaying under the weight of ripe fruit. Workers moved carefully between the branches, their voices mingling with the rustle of leaves. Alex stood a short distance away, watching the process with a steady gaze. His role as a leader demanded focus. Every fruit had to meet strict standards before being packed for distant customers. Yet, beneath the surface of business, another weight pressed on him, one that no contract or calculation could resolve. It had been more than 10 days since he had confessed his feelings to Lytuna. 10 days of silence that lingered like a cloud over his heart. He remembered the exact moment he spoke, the trembling in his voice, and the quiet way she lowered her eyes. Since then, he had lived in suspense, waiting for a response that never came. The orchard's abundance seemed to mock him. Grapefruits glowed in shades of gold, heavy with sweetness, while his own longing remained unfulfilled. He thought of her as he gave instructions, his words carried on the wind. Be careful. Make sure the fruit looks perfect. It was as though he was speaking to himself, urging patience, urgent hope. In the quiet pauses, his eyes drifted to the small box hidden in his pocket, the ring he had chosen for her. He imagined it slipping onto her hand, shining under the soft light of evening. For now, it remained a secret, like the ripening fruit around him, waiting for the right season, waiting for her answer. Evening settled over the orchards, painting the sky in muted shades of amber and violet. Alex sat alone at his desk, the day's reports scattered and forgotten. His hand lingered over a small velvet box, its weight far heavier than it should have been. Inside lay the ring, simple, elegant, and chosen with the hope of a new beginning. He opened it once more, as if rehearsing the moment, imagining how it would gleam on Lytuna's hand. Today was her birthday. He knew because he had stumbled across the date while arranging her hospital paperwork. A quiet smile curved his lips at the thought. Lytuna herself might not even remember. She had told him once that birthdays were foreign to her, lost in the hardships of childhood. And so Alex resolved, tonight she would feel celebrated, cherished, seen. He had already placed the calls, reserved the restaurant, and ordered the cake. Flowers, delicate and fragrant, would be waiting at their table. Every detail mattered, not because he wanted grandeur, but because he longed for her to feel special. For once, her eyes would light up not from duty or struggle, but from joy. Yet uncertainty gnawed at him. Would she come? Would she accept? He thought of the orchard earlier that day, of his workers lifting fruit into crates, harvests meant for distant mouths. His own harvest, he realized, was here, in this fragile chance for love. The night air pressed in, still and heavy. Alex closed the box, holding it firmly, whispering to himself, "No matter how long I wait, this ring belongs to her." The farm was quiet that afternoon, golden light spilling across the fields. Lytuna stood by the gate, hesitant, her hands still smelling faintly of soil and fruit. When Alex arrived, she glanced at him with a mix of curiosity and caution. He greeted her with the same calm assurance he used in business, but his eyes betrayed a softer urgency. "I'd like to take you somewhere," he said, almost casually, though his heart pounded beneath his shirt. She hesitated, instinctively glancing back toward the small house where little Henry was resting. "I can't. The baby." Her voice was barely above a whisper. Alex stepped closer, his tone steady. "My mother will take care of him. She loves Henry. Just this evening, let me borrow your time." The sincerity in his voice seemed to bridge the distance between them. Tuna nodded slowly, torn between responsibility and the strange pull of his invitation. They drove into town, the hum of the road filling the silences. Instead of the restaurant, Alex led her first into a small boutique. The air smelled of fabric and newness. "Choose what you like," he said. Tuna's eyes widened, her steps uncertain. Rows of dresses and blouses surrounded her like unfamiliar treasures. She had never done this, never been told she could simply choose. Alex picked a simple white blouse, holding it out with a quiet smile. "This will look beautiful on you." Her cheeks warmed as she took it, slipping into the fitting room. When she emerged, he could barely hide the awe in his eyes. For the first time, Tuna allowed herself a small, fragile smile, one that hinted at the possibility of believing. The restaurant glowed softly in the evening rain, its windows spilling golden light onto the wet pavement. Alex opened the door for her, his gesture quiet but deliberate. Tuna stepped inside, her eyes darting across the polished tables, the gentle clinking of glasses, the murmur of voices. It felt like another world, one she had never belonged to. "Why such a place, Alex?" she whispered. He only smiled, "Because today is special." As they sat, servers brought dish after dish, aromas mingling in the air. Tuna's brow furrowed. "Why so many? We cannot finish." Alex leaned forward, his voice steady. "It doesn't matter. Tonight is yours." She blinked, uncertain, until he spoke the words that stilled her breath. "It's your birthday." Her heart stumbled. She had long forgotten the date, long buried the meaning. Since childhood, birthdays had been empty days, like stones skipping across water, leaving no trace. Now, before her stood a table laden with gifts of care, flowers blooming in crystal glass, a cake adorned with candles, and Alex's steady eyes watching her. He placed the bouquet into her hands, the fragrance surrounding her like a secret garden. "Make a wish," he urged, lighting the candles. Her fingers trembled as she closed her eyes. For once, she wished. Not for survival, not for strength, but for something tender, something lasting. When she opened them, Alex was there, holding the ring. The world around her blurred. His voice was quiet, but it struck deep. "Will you be mine?" Tears welled as she nodded, her lips parting into the first true smile of the night. Rain whispered against the windows as the last candle flickered out. Tuna sat still, the weight of the ring new upon her hand. She stared at it, almost disbelieving, as if the small circle of gold had the power to alter the course of her life. Alex leaned forward, his voice lowered to something close to a vow. "I have loved you for longer than you know," he said, "but I feared my world might not fit yours. Tonight, I want to change that. From now on, I will care for you and for Henry. You won't have to walk alone again." The words pressed into her chest like a balm and a burden. Tuna lowered her gaze, her mind slipping into fragments of memory. Nights of solitude, the soft cries of Henry when she had no one else to lean on. Could she really trust this man, this promise? Yet, when she looked up, Alex's eyes held no hesitation, only patience. They left the restaurant hand in hand. Outside, the rain had softened, leaving the streets shimmering under lamplight. Alex lifted his phone, capturing a photo of them together. She allowed herself to smile, a fragile, luminous thing, as though testing how happiness might feel on her lips. For the first time, Lytuna felt a glimpse of what peace might be. The night seemed to hold them, cradling their silence as if protecting something newly born. Yet deep inside, an echo lingered, hope entwined with fear. For every promise, there was always the question of whether it could be kept. Days slipped quietly after that night, each one tinged with the fragile glow of new affection. Lytuna moved through her routines with a lighter step, glancing at the ring when doubt threatened, letting its shine remind her of Alex's words. Yet happiness, she discovered, was never without shadow. It happened suddenly. She was walking home from the market when she saw him, Alex, standing at the corner of a quiet street. He wasn't alone. A woman she had never seen before lingered close beside him, her hand brushing his arm as though familiarity had long been there. Their faces leaned toward each other, the kind of closeness that silences explanations. Lytuna froze, her breath shallow. The bags in her hands felt heavier, as if the weight of her life had shifted. She watched as Alex spoke softly to the woman, their laughter spilling into the dusk. It struck her like cold rain. Had his promises been nothing but fragile illusions? Was she a placeholder in a story that belonged to someone else? Her chest tightened. Memories of the birthday evening replayed, his careful eyes, the flowers, the ring. Could that tenderness have been shared with another? She turned away quickly, afraid he might see her, afraid of the truth reflected in her own eyes. That night, alone with Henry, sleeping in her arms, the questions tore at her. Was she mistaken? Could there be another explanation? Between trust and betrayal stretched a silence vast as the night sky. And in that silence, Lytuna's heart trembled, unsure whether to cling or to let go. The following days felt heavier, as if each hour carried the echo of what she had seen. Lytuna moved through her tasks in silence, her thoughts circling endlessly. Alex visited, his gestures unchanged, gentle, attentive, protective. Yet every smile of his now seemed shadowed, every word a question. She found herself studying him, searching for cracks, listening for truths hidden between his pauses. At night, when Henry's breathing steadied in sleep, she would sit by the window, the ring glinting faintly under the moon. Trust, she realized, was like glass, beautiful in its clarity, yet so easily fractured. She wanted to believe in him, in the warmth he had given her, in the vow whispered over candlelight. But the image of him with that woman lingered, sharp and unyielding. Alex sensed her distance, though he said nothing. Sometimes his gaze lingered longer, as if he wished to ask what weighed on her, but silence pressed between them, a wall neither dared to break. Lytuna's heart stood at a crossroads. One path beckoned with hope, to trust him, to hold on to the promise of love and family. The other whispered of caution, urging her to guard herself before another wound could be carved into her soul. She closed her eyes, listening to the stillness. Perhaps time would reveal the truth, perhaps not. For now, she carried both love and doubt in equal measure. Two rivers running side by side, waiting for her to choose which one to follow. And beneath it all, a quiet lesson lingered. Happiness is never the absence of pain, but the courage to believe even when belief feels fragile.
Tử Na làm việc tại nông trại tình cờ. Alex, một CEO giàu tình cảm, để ý sau hơn 10 ngày chờ đợi đúng dịp sinh nhật của cô, Alex tổ chức một bữa sinh nhật tiệc hoa bất ngờ, vài bánh, quần áo mới, chiếc nhẫn anh luôn giữ bên mình. Lần đầu tiên trong đời Tử Na có một sinh nhật thật sự, cô xúc động chấp nhận. Cả hai hứa hẹn về bên nhau tương lai. Alex cam kết sẽ chăm sóc mẹ con cô hạnh phúc mong nhanh, nhưng Tử Na bất ngờ gặp Alex đi cùng một người phụ nữ lạ. Nỗi nghi ngờ trỗi dậy, liệu Alex phản bội hay chỉ hiểu lầm? Trái tim Tử Na đứng trước giữa sự lựa chọn tin tưởng và rời bỏ.